It's Melissa with the Keto Butlers. In this video, let's talk about my favorite baking flours for a keto or low carb lifestyle. So let's start out by talking about why wheat flour is not typically used in low carb or keto. Now, two reasons. Number one, it is very high in carbohydrates. Typically, 1 cup of wheat flour has close to 100 grams of carbohydrates. So a quarter cup, close to 25 grams of carbohydrates in wheat flour. In addition to that, wheat has gluten in it, and a lot of people are gluten sensitive. So if you're trying to do a gluten-free diet or you're trying to omit gluten, then you want to omit that wheat flour from your diet as well. So let's talk about what are some low carb or keto options that work really well for baking, and when do I use these and when do I not use these? That's really important too. So I'm going to start out by telling you about my 3 favorites, what the net carb count is for these, and then how I use these and what types of recipes I might use them in. So the first one is almond flour. I love to buy this almond flour from Costco. This is a great find. Almond flour is one of the absolute best low carb or keto flours that you can use. It's very low in net carbs. So in 1/4 cup of almond flour, it has about 3 grams of net carbs in 1/4 cup. So in comparison to wheat flour, that's a lot less. Remember, wheat flour had about 25 grams in a 1/4 cup, whereas almond flour is about 3 grams net carbs. Now, when you're baking with almond flour, it's not going to be exactly like wheat flour. It's definitely a little bit more grainy. If you can find a blanched almond flour that's a fine grain, it's going to work really well. You can also put it in your food processor to blend it even a little bit more and try to get it into more of that kind of powdery consistency. That's going to help in a lot of your baked goods, like your cupcakes, your cakes, your cookies, things like that. So almond flour is my go-to low carb or keto flour in my recipes. Now, another one I love to use is coconut flour. This is really nutritious for you. As far as net carbs goes, in about a 1/4 cup, it has about 8 grams net carbs. So it's a little bit higher. I don't typically use coconut flour in as large of amounts, and I'll explain why in just a moment. But this is another low carb and keto friendly flour as well. And then another one we use in our house, not quite as often, but we really love, is pecan flour. This is really good in keto or low carb brownies or even cookies. If you're really looking for that nutty flavor, you'll really enjoy pecan flour. And it has less than 2 grams net carbs per 1/4 cup. So this is the lowest in net carbs that we have in our keto and low carb pantry. Now, there's other options out there, but these are the 3 we use most often. So a couple little hacks I want to encourage you. A lot of recipes are going to call for almond flour, okay? And this is a great, like I said, low carb keto flour. Now, if some of your recipes that you're making are turning out with a texture that's a little bit more grainy, you might want to lower the almond flour you use by just a little bit, maybe lower it by about a 1/4 cup or a 1/3 cup, and try adding in a couple tablespoons of coconut flour. The combination of almond flour and coconut flour has worked really well in a lot of our recipes to give that texture that you're really looking for. Now, you don't want to overdo it with coconut flour because coconut flour is very, very drying. So a lot of people ask, can I replace the almond flour in my recipe with all coconut flour? The answer is no. Your food's going to turn out like a powdery brick because it is so drying. Now, can you replace coconut flour with almond flour? Yes, you can do that. But like I said, one of my favorite things to do when I'm baking is a combination of the 2. More almond flour with a couple tablespoons of coconut flour seems to be a really good mix. So I hope you found this helpful. If you did, share this video, and of course, subscribe to our channel for more.